AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.
Hey, what's going on, Ramley? Welcome to the Rams Skinny here on the LAFB Network. Thank you, as always, for making this show a part of your day, talking all things Rams as we preview what should be, hopefully, a blowout, but could be a good matchup with the New Orleans Saints coming to town. So helping me break it all down is, of course, my main man, our main Rams beat writer, our executive editor, Rams Skinny T, everything. My man, how we doing?
Doing good, man. In keeping with the season, I've been watching some scary movies. Started the It franchise just last night, rewatching the first one tonight. Going to get into the new show, Welcome to Derry. My cousin lived with me for about 2 years, and she kind of introduced me to scary movies and the joy of watching them. So that's what I've been digging into lately.
All right. I hate scary movies, so we're different there.
I did too. We're both Christmas guys. We like the Christmas movie spirit. Which I still do, but they're kind of fun. I've delved into some interesting territory, though.
Yeah. I mean, I feel bad because my wife loved scary movies, and we never watch them because I hate them. So I'm just like, yeah, you can watch them on your own time, but like when we're, after we put the daughter to bed and we're watching, like, sorry, it's not going to be a scary movie. So I've already started Skinny watching some Christmas movies. Like it's already begun, and officially on Saturday, so in 2 days, November 1st. That's when it becomes Christmas season in the Dyrud household. So we're 2 days away.
That's right, man.
You'll see that tree up behind me pretty soon.
I love it. Yeah, last true family man. You're Griswold to the bone, I believe.
Oh yeah. And I'm as I've said to you, I haven't said on air, but we're expecting our second daughter, and she's due January 7th, and I'm pretty confident she's going to be due on Christmas. I just have a feeling like she's going to be a week or so early, born on Christmas.
So I love it.
Yeah, but yeah, so the Rams hosting the New Orleans Saints, who made a quarterback change this week, going from Spencer Rattler to rookie Tyler Shough. We talked a lot about Shough during the draft process as a potential target for the Rams at some point, not in the first round, but as like a second or third option of a guy that had a lot of talent but would need some time to develop. So we'll see what he looks like against this Rams defense, because he was a guy that, even though he's older in age and has played a lot of college football, needed to kind of be in a system for longer to get acclimated. So we'll get into all that, but Rams, a 13.5-point favorite on Bet Online. I think some others have them at 14 even, and over under at 44 on Bet Online. So definitely a massive line for NFL football. That is you're approaching college football lines. But we'll get to that as well. So just looking at the top, Skinny, like, what are you coming off the bye? What are you looking for in this Rams team? We'll get to injury reports and all that, but just overall, as we always do, what are you looking for in this Rams team?
Dominance, excellence of execution, Bret Hart, maybe something in there. I just want to. This is one of those games. The line says everything really you need to know. What the expectation is should be a dominant performance on both sides of the ball. Now, obviously, we've seen the defense rise to that level week in and week out, but the offense, shifted majorly for the lack of Puka Nacua last week, 2 weeks ago now, against the who'd they even play? The Jaguars.
Jacksonville, yeah.
Say Texans going way back to the week one.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the only question that I have. But there are things I'm interested in watching in this game about how this Rams team kind of integrates their new addition of Roger McCreary and what they do without Tutu Atwell, who just hit the IR.
Yeah, so let's jump on that, because that is a storyline. Tutu Atwell going on the IR. Some people have been saying big loss. I mean, the dude's not really that involved, I guess. I think certainly involved in some aspect in terms, we've talked about like using him and stretching the defense a little bit, opening things up for some of your other receivers. So, I'm not saying he's no loss, but he hasn't really been used in terms of actual target share very much at all. So tough break for him, feel for him, who obviously needed to kind of stack some stats this season in order to get that extra contract. Obviously only signed a 1-year deal. So, you feel for him obviously, but in terms of the Rams, you wrote an article this morning, I think, about kind of some opportunities this will give, even though he didn't have a big target share, but it could still, in terms of deception or just in terms of Sean McVay play calling, could shift things a little bit. So how do you think this really does kind of affect this Rams team? Like, do you think it hurts them, or do you think it actually kind of opens opportunity for other guys to maybe get more involved within the offensive ecosystem?
I think it will. I think there's going to be a big opportunity, and I think it's going to be in that 12 personnel realm. I think it's going to involve our guy, Turd Ferguson, rookie.
Turd,
I think he is going to become the vertical stretch option for this team. So if you look at the average depth of target for all the receivers on the team, it becomes very apparent kind of how they view these receivers and how they want to use them, just really in terms of depth, I guess. But Puka Nacua is sort of the intermediate underneath option. He's not a field stretcher, really, no matter where he plays, slot or on the outside. I think he's around 9 yards in his average depth of target. And then you've got Davante, who extends it a little bit further with 13 yards, his average depth of target. Terrence Ferguson's average depth of target, although he's only been targeted 4 times, is 26 yards.
Wow.
And I actually went back and I rewatched that whole game, and I charted all of his routes that he ran, and all of them were stretching the field routes. They were, all going 10, 15 yards down the field, and sometimes more. This touchdown he caught was like a 40-yarder. They tried to target him on a similar route previously. I even went back and I looked at his targets in the preseason in that Cleveland Browns game. All of his routes are all long distance until you get into the red zone, which obviously, shortens the field, so you can't do it. He's not running routes there. But that touchdown that he caught, he was an inline tight end, just broke through, didn't even offer chip help, just ran right down the field and caught that huge touchdown. So I just see that kind of integrating itself more and more as the weeks have gone by. And without Tutu Atwell in there, you're going to turn to, Xavier Smith, probably not. You got the second year and the first year guy, Whittington and Kanate Mumfield.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys don't have that kind of skill set either. They're more that Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua role. So I think this is going to be I think we're going to see a lot of Terrence Ferguson.
Wow. So jumping off the Tutu train and onto the turd wagon is what we're doing, huh?
I've been on and off the Tutu train for so long. This is my first official time in the turd wagon.
The turd wagon, baby. Round it up. Again, you never want to see an injury, of course, but I do think there is an opportunity now for guys to step up and specifically like you're alluding to with Terrence Ferguson and what he's able to do with that depth of target and how they can utilize him in this offense, which does add another element, which they don't really have when he's not out there. Again, it's such a small sample size, but hopefully that's a good sign of things to come. And they can certainly, I think, do this. What I should say is it'll certainly be interesting to see how they attack this in this New Orleans Saints defense, which has not been a very good defense, but obviously Brandon Staley, we all know, is that 2 high shell concept, which is trying to keep everything in front of them, not anyone to get deep. So how they can utilize, whether it's Terrence Ferguson or someone else to kind of stretch things out. And even if that just keeps the underneath stuff open, utilizing. So that I think will be really interesting. Just last thing on Tutu before I move on. I've seen a lot of people out there because of his injuries kind of putting in the universe that the Rams, and we'll do one more trade target thing before the deadline, but putting out there that the Rams should target a receiver. I think would be absolutely silly and a waste of capital. Like what do you say? And then I'll give my opinion, but I just should the Rams be targeting a receiver as one of their potential last moves before the deadline?
If there was a real needle mover out there, that was somebody that I thought could move into that 2-2 spot that wouldn't cost them an arm and a leg. But some of the names that are out there, like we'll see a couple of them here, Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed. But I mean, everybody's looking for those weapons. Everybody's going to be targeting these. So it just doesn't seem like it's their MO this season to go out and do that. we saw with Roger McCreary exactly kind of how much they were willing to spend to invest at a position of big need versus a position that really they don't need a lot. So they got Puka. They've invested in Davante, and they've got their draft picks that they've worked in there. And also, Terrence Ferguson, as much as we love him as a tight end, is sort of a,
hybrid.
Yeah, exactly. That he's, 11 and a half personnel, actually, not a truly 12 personnel type of guy at this point, even though he's been in line sometimes. Most of his routes are in the slot. So yeah, I think it would be a mistake to go in that route. If you're going anywhere on the offense, I think running back or offensive line, and even that, it seems like a bit superfluous.
Yeah, I agree. I just think like obviously I've seen some people throw out like Brian Thomas. I don't know why the Jaguars would ever. I mean, they're like a decent football team with a fighting chance. Like why they would just trade their number one receiver. So I think that's ludicrous. But specifically the Saints, because those are the names not just with the Rams, but are floating, for multiple other teams out there because of just the state of the Saints right now. And yeah, while I would love to see Chris Olave or Raheem Shaheed in this offense. I think they could thrive. But as we've said many times, like you would give up capital to target a guy once a game. Like they're just not going to, it's not like they're going to throw it to him a lot. So if they do, like, let's say Chris Olave comes here and he becomes like a great target. Well, that just means that Davante or Puka Nacua is basically taken out of the game plan. So, obviously there's ways to use guys without just having the ball in their hands. But if you're going to trade a lot of draft capital just to have a guy be like a decoy, I don't see the purpose, because we know this offense runs through the two guys in Puka Nacua and Davante Adams, and Puka, which we'll get to, might be back for this game, saying his ankle's feeling great. So if he's healthy and Davante's healthy, like, why would you ever, if you draft a guy and they end up becoming great, fantastic. But why would you give up capital for a guy that's going to get, they couldn't get Tutu the ball. So why do they need to trade to replace him? You're literally trading to replace a non-existent player.
Well, and when this offense looks at its best, last week was the prime example, is when they are targeting their tight ends a lot. Yeah. And whether that's Colby Parkinson, Davis Allen, or Tyler Higbee, they're all great options. I mean, not great options, but they are all viable options in the passing and the receiving game. So I think that, the Rams are going to continue to move towards this bigger packages and personnel, and away from, they brought in Deshaun Jackson in that first Matthew Stafford year. He left the team because he wasn't getting used enough.
Yeah, so. Exactly. And I don't think this would be any different. So, I'm not saying they won't do it. I just personally don't see any value in doing that, because it's a guy that won't really be used. So why give up capital? So, let's look at the injury report, Skinny. And the Rams are obviously coming off a bye, which helps immensely, but they should be pretty dang healthy going into this. They got 4 guys on the report: Havenstein, Puka Nacua, Cam Kinchins, Darius Williams. All of them were limited participants. I should say Puka Nacua was a full participant today. So he's on track minus a setback of absolutely playing. And the other 3 were all limited participants. So we'll see what that looks like tomorrow on Friday, but looking like this Rams team may be at full health, minus any guys that are on IR. Obviously, we just mentioned Tutu, but anyone banged up should be at full health. So just your thoughts on kind of how healthy, and this bye coming at a really good time for this team.
Yeah, the one big question I have on there is Rob Havenstein, and if they're going to, take Warren McClendon out, who's done a pretty good job over the last several weeks there at the right-hand side. And, you look at Matthew Stafford's hit numbers, which his sack numbers are where they are. I think he's taken around 11 sacks, something right around there, which is great. This is really good. The hits, in the first few weeks were adding up, and he was in that top 3 or 4, but he's been very well protected. And I wonder if the Warren McClendon part of that is a big factor in that. So, that's a question I have. Obviously, you want your stalwart in there. They're not going to hold him out if he's healthy. Why would they? But that's just kind of another thing that I'm going to keep my eye on. But when you have your starters healthy and available, you're in a really good place. And we were joking in our little Slack channel about the Chargers injury report.
Ooh.
Just 10 starters basically, all limited or did not practice or just on the report. So you could be in that position, but the Rams are hardly ever in that position.
Yeah, I mean, a legit scroll they have to unroll just to get through all the names. So, it's great to see this Rams team getting really healthy. Hopefully it lasts, and obviously after the trade, and then eventually get Witherspoon back, and so we'll see kind of what this team can look like down the stretch. But let's real quick, Skinny, talk about our friends over at Sleeper, the number one sports app right now. Download at the App Store or Google Play. When you go to download it, or after you download, I should say, when you go to make your first deposit, make sure you use our promo code RAMS LAFB. It's all one word, RAMS LAFB. You're going to get a match bonus up to $100. So if you put in $100, they're going to give you $100 free to play with. You're up to $200. If you only want to start with 10, go for it. They'll match you that $10. You'll have 20 to play with. And right now, don't even need a deposit if you don't want to. They're giving all new users a free $20 entry. But you can stack the offers. You can sign up, get the $20 free, go deposit another 20, and they'll give you 20 on top of that. So that you're sitting at $60 to go play. And you might be asking, Ryan, why do I need to deposit money for season-long fantasy? Well, they got the daily fantasy, which is more or less a pick'em, pun intended, because you're going to choose more or less across any sport. Just choose 2 to 8 players. And Skinny, I got the Rams Saints game up right now. We can build a quick little ticket here. Kyren Williams, more or less, or I should just say anytime touchdown, more or less.
I always like that one for Kyren. If they're on the goal line, Kyren's going to be that battering ram. So I like that one.
They've steered away from him the last couple of weeks. I know, just because I've always done this ticket, and I have him on my actual Dynasty Fantasy League, and he has not gotten any touchdowns for me, but I think he breaks that streak this time. Matthew Stafford, more or less interceptions, 1 interception, 0.5 interceptions, I guess.
I mean, he's been nails when it comes to ball security, so I'm going to say under on that one, especially with this defense.
I like it. Tyler Shuck, first start, rookie out of Louisville, more or less 186 passing yards.
I'm going to go under.
Under 186.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a rookie going against one of the most imposing, terrifying defensive lines. And his tackles have not played very well so far this year. Talise Fuaga and Calvin Banks, a second and a first-year player, protecting a rookie quarterback. It's going to be a rough day for Shook.
All right, we'll go one more Saints player. Alvin Kamara, anytime touchdown. I mean, if the Saints are going to score, you have to think it's going to be Alvin Kamara.
That's where I would go. I think he has 1 rushing touchdown on the year so far, which is concerning.
That's crazy. That's all he has.
I think. Let me double check that.
I like the odds on it because it's more. So choosing him to score a touchdown is 2.46 multiplier there, which brings our inch.
He can score as a receiver as well. So yeah, he has 1 rushing touchdown on the season. Oh,
wild.
A mess. What a mess.
Wild.
And,
all right.
And zero as a receiver. So
he has 1 total touchdown. Man, fantasy owners are dying right now. What's Kellen Moore doing? Kellen Moore, get this guy at the end zone. I don't want to root for guys to score against the Rams, but we'll give him 1. We can give 1. We can win 30-7. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go more. I'm going to go he gets in once. Let's see. Puka Nacua. They're obviously assuming he will be back, which he should be. More or less 91.5 receiving yards. Coming off that ankle injury. That's quite the haul.
I want to I think he'll be on a pitch count. I think they'll roll him out there a little bit here and there. And I hope Matthew Stafford is spreading the ball around again this week. So I guess out of hope, I'm going to say under. See,
I agree with you, that reasoning, but I remember last time we thought he'd be on a pitch count. Didn't he have 14 targets and 100 and we were like, well, I guess he's not on a pitch count. And he just all targets were going to him.
Yeah. Was that last year, that crazy game that they were going to hold him out? And then
I think so.
Yeah. Pulled a switcheroo on us.
So maybe I want to go more then.
Go more. Well, yeah, I always pick the losers.
More. And let's get we'll
I
get
always
one
try to
more.
employ logic for these things, and football is not logical.
It's super hard, right? Let's see here. That's a good one. Tyler Higbee, 15.5 receiving yards.
I don't trust Higgs anymore.
I don't either. Less. All right. So let's see what I'm actually going to stay with that. Actually hurts our multiplier, which is very weird.
Oh,
Doesn't make any sense. So I'll just keep him off at 5 picks. $5 wins us 95.
ooh. I'll be rooting for Elvin Kamara on this one.
Submit, family. We're doing it live. Submit. Boom.
Yeah.
Ticket is in. Contest entered. Sleeper fantasy. Download the app. Use that promo code Rams LAFB. I like doing that ad installation, if you call it, because it actually does help preview the game, right? We can see kind of what these players are looking at. And so that kind of goes into this perfectly, and we don't have to spend too much more time on it. But yes, Chris Olave is great. Yes, Raheed Shaheed has a lot of talent. But with Tyler Shuck as a rookie quarterback, you got to think, like, if the Rams just shut down Alvin Kamara, like, this game should be in hand by the second quarter, right?
Yeah, definitely it should be. I mean, I picked him to go under 185 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Some people, people were pounding the table for Jackson Dart, and that seems to be working out for the Giants. So this is kind of an unknown quantity. And when you got weapons like they do, Juwan Johnson, we got to throw him out there as well, having a pretty decent year with like 350 yards receiving, something like that. So I think as long as the pass rush does its job and continues to get home and plays tough and gets after this guy, they should be able to, end this before halftime, and maybe get Stetson Bennett some love there in the second half. I don't know.
Yeah, that is honestly the one concern is anytime you put in your rookie quarterback who you drafted, and he was whatever round you want to argue, well, not argue, but like usually if it's not a first round guy, there'll be different opinions on it, but he was drafted seemingly to be the future of the franchise. They were just going to kind of give Spencer Rattler's opportunity. He's still young. Maybe he seizes it. But anytime that guy you drafted that was going to be the future, there's like this aura in their first start. Like, even if they're just not like really ready for it, there seems to be this aura. I mean, Jackson Dart, right, won his first start, and had the team just like rallied and shifted. And now they've gone back to the mean of kind of what their actually talent is. But because this is his first start on the road, 14-point dogs, essentially, like, you throw caution to the wind. So that's the only thing I want to see this Rams team do, is not let the emotional wave that the Saints are going to be on kind of exploit anything from them. Like, let's just see the pass rush do what they do. Jared Verse, Byron Young, all these guys get after it, make Shuck really uncomfortable in his first start, his welcome to NFL moment. When he's asked in 5 years, what was your welcome to NFL moment? Hopefully it's in his first game at SoFi with Jared Verse just like straddled over him after his third sack of the game. Because if they're able to do that, this game is going to get out of hand, I think, because the Rams are just a better football team in all aspects. I mean, the Saints are in full rebuild mode and whatnot. So I see this as what should be a blowout win, which is great after a bye week. Can't beat that, right?
Yeah. Last Saturday, I was over at my buddy Tanner's house. He's a Alabama football fan. He's from Piedmont, Alabama. And they were playing South Carolina, and South Carolina was hanging in there. And he kept saying, I was telling my dad earlier, this is a trap game and you can't let them get ahead of you. And
nice Brian Kelly Southern accent right there. Well done.
Yeah. Well, anytime I get around Tanner, the Southern accent just comes out of me for some reason. Brian Kelly looking for a job. Thank goodness.
Yes.
Anyway, as a Notre Dame fan, I'm happy about that. Anyhow, so there's elements of this where I could see this, the Rams offense gets out there and they're just not executing early, like we've seen over and over this season. And Shook hits Chris Olave for a 40-yard touchdown, gets a couple of scores on the board. Alvin Kamara comes out of nowhere. They understand that they need to get the ball out of his hand quickly. Juwan Johnson picks up a few first downs, and this thing starts to feel pretty even around halftime. We've seen that happen with this team against inferior opponents. So, offensively, they have to execute. you brought up Brandon Staley already. That's their defensive coordinator. We've seen that defense give Sean McVay some problems.
Mm-hmm.
And the New Orleans Saints defense against the run has been really stout so far this year. So if they're able to cap that in a good way, keep up with them with a few explosive plays, maybe some special teams mistakes happen on this for the Rams as well. But do I see any of that, happening? My logical brain that I've been making bets with on not bets, not bets, but just picks on Sleeper. I mean, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I know. That's it. What we get in with this, obviously fresh off the trade, like how involved do you think we'll see Scotty McCreery? Scott, that's the country singer, Roger McCreery. How much do you think we'll actually see him involved? I think he'll definitely play. Do you think he'll be like 100% of the snaps?
What? That's an interesting question because Darius Williams was limited in practice the last 2 days.
Limited, yeah.
He's got what which McVay has called a weird freak injury, which is some sort of like shoulder lat injury. I don't like either one of those words when it comes to injuries,
especially from McVay.
Yeah. So I think he could be involved right away. I'm going to be interested in watching where they put him. And, we kind of were talking about how we can unlock Quentin Lake and allow him to move around a lot. And I started thinking about it and I'm like, well, they're pretty happy with their safety room. Do they need him to play free safety? Do they need McCreery to unlock Quentin Lake more? I don't know. They need an outside corner though, especially with Darius Williams banged up. So I think he's involved the first week, and I think he's going to be mostly on the outside. I think as of this week, at the very least, Quentin Lake is going to be locked into that nickel position again, which is fine.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
You were the one that said it on our last show. Like when the trade happened, a lot of the conversation was, oh, cool. Here's a guy that can play. Everyone said he was versatile, but kind of like he can play nickel. And you kind of brought up like, well, he can play outside. He did that, before this season. Obviously the Titans had been using him in the nickel, but he can play outside, and maybe the Rams are actually trading for him as more of an outside guy to give them more depth there and versatility there, and not just to replace Lake at the nickel. So we may see that this week, especially with Darius Williams banged up, where he's just that outside guy, and Quentin Lake is still in his normal role in the slot. So I agree, though. I think he'll be heavily involved. It'll be interesting how up to speed he is with the defense and the play calls. Sometimes when you get guys in, it's just like, hey, you're playing man. Like, don't worry about the other checks with me's and calls. Like, you're just on man coverage all game and lock down your guy the best you can, and we'll get you up to speed as we go. So it'll be interesting to see kind of where he does fit in there, but should have a good game, and, a good game to get thrown into going against a rookie quarterback, right?
Yeah, it's a great warm up, I guess.
Yeah. So, all right, what's your score prediction? What you got?
Well, I was just about to say I was really confident heading into that 49ers game. Don't forget that 49ers game, guys.
Oh man, yeah.
You had it somewhere in the back of your head, because I was like, "This is a great one." All of the stuff.
That's true. This is true.
But I've stopped betting on this team to score 30 points. So I'm going to say 29-18.
Nice.
Because I got to throw
18. So they do not cover.
Yeah, that's too high. That's too much. That's too many points to cover.
That's a lot for an NFL team.
It's a bad bet.
Yeah, I agree. I'll go 24-13. So also 11-point win, decisive victory, but also not cover. So 24-13. Kamara gets the one touchdown. They kick a couple of field goals, and the Rams win at least comfortably, but not maybe as dominant as we want. I was going to literally say they win like 35-10, and then you brought up the Niners, and I'm like, oh man, maybe I want to stay away from that. Now, obviously that's different. It's a rivalry divisional game, and they're coming off a bye. But we'll keep it more tepid this time. 11-point victories for both of us. Look at that.
Beautiful.
Look at that. So, all right. Well, thank you everyone for hanging out with us here on the Rams Skinny on the Rams LAFB YouTube channel. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe if you have not already. It really helps us out. Plus, check out all of Skinny T's fantastic Rams coverage over at LAFBnetwork.com. You can become a member right here on the YouTube channel or over at LAFBnetwork.com. Gets you access to more stuff, some discounts on merchandise. We're going to be doing some meetups and stuff like that soon. So check that out, and it helps support LAFB and keeps us free and local. So appreciate you as always, Ramley. We'll be back with more covers throughout the week. Plus, we'll do some more trade deadline stuff before that happens on Tuesday. Everyone enjoy the game, and we'll talk to y'all soon.
AI agents are everywhere, automating tasks and making decisions at machine speed. But agents make mistakes. Just one rogue agent can do big damage before you even notice. Rubrik Agent Cloud is the only platform that helps you monitor agents, set guardrails, and rewind mistakes, so you can unleash agents, not risk. Accelerate your AI transformation at Rubrik.com. That's RUBRIK.com.